Alcohol is a mistress, a muse. It calls people saying, if you drink me, you will be cool, beautiful, handsome, funny, bulletproof, a dance machine, a storyteller. You will even find a beautiful partner. When we graduate, get married, win a championship, there is free flowing of champagne. It is the drink of celebration. Alcohol also tells a different story. And these are very conservative statistics. 40% of all homicides, 37% of all rapes, 66% of all domestic violence, 100% of DWI drivers who injure and kill other people, and way too much child abuse under the influence of alcohol. Alcohol can be fun. Alcohol can also cause us to make some really bad decisions with serious consequences to ourselves and others. So what is a person to do? Society and advertising tell us one story. Crime statistics tell us another. So let's all start with our brains. The younger you start drinking, the more damage you do to your body. You see, our brains are still growing and developing up until the age of 25. Unfortunately, too many people start drinking in middle school or high school at the age of 13, 14, 15. I first tasted alcohol at the age of 8, just drinking the foam off my dad's beer. It was very little, but I was very little. I grew to love the taste of beer. I didn't know the damage I was doing to myself. My parents didn't know either. I got drunk for the very first time at the age of 14. Although adolescent drinking is sometimes seen as a rite of passage for American teenagers, those adolescents actually impair brain development, engage in elevated levels of risky behavior, attempt suicide and even at an increased rate, and fare much worse in school than their non-drinking peers. From the Right Step, a treatment center. According to the 2005 Monitoring the Future study, a full 75% of 12th graders have consumed alcohol, and 29% of those have engaged in heavy episodic binge drinking within the past 2 weeks. That could have been done in 1975, 1985, 1995, of course 2005, 2015, and it will be the same statistic in 2025, 2035. Did you know that teen alcohol use kills about 6,000 people each year, more than all illegal drugs combined, according to a MAD email November 2nd, 2011. So let's look at the history of alcohol. Alcohol was invented 9,000 years ago. Fermented beverages were found in early Egyptian civilization. The first alcoholic drink was found in China around 7000 BC. In India, there was a drink called sura, distilled from rice, which was found anywhere between 3000 and 2000 BC. The Babylonians were worshiping a wine goddess as early as 2700 BC. A popular Greek drink was a drink called mead. It was made from honey and water. Now, early Greek literature also had full warnings about excessive drinking. Beer was invented in Iran around 3500 BC by the Sumerians. Wine was invented in Armenia around 4000 BC. Vodka was invented in Russia in 1430 by a monk. Tequila was invented in Tequila, Mexico, around 1600 from the agave plants. In South America, the Native Americans had this drink that they made from corn. It's called chicha. I drank purple chicha in the streets of Cochabamba, Bolivia. It was the Bolivian version of purple drank. It wasn't my favorite, but it did the trick. It had alcohol. The world has used rice, grapes, corn, apples, barley, etc. for all types of fermented drinks and alcoholic drinks. And the world keeps experimenting with all different types of fruits and grains to come up with new drinks. During the early modern period, 1500 to 1800, you even had Protestant leaders, Martin Luther, John Calvin, the leaders of the Anglican Church, even the Puritans, that didn't really differ much from Catholic teachings. Catholics kept seeing that alcohol was a gift from the gods. And if it was used in moderation, it could be used for pleasure, enjoyment, and health. Drunkenness was always viewed as a sin. From this period through at least the beginning of the 18th century, attitudes toward drinking were characterized by a continued recognition that the positive nature of moderate consumption and an increased concern over the negative effects of drunkenness. The latter, which was generally viewed arising out of the increased self-indulgence of the time, it was seen as a threat to spiritual salvation and societal well-being. Alcoholic beverages even played a part in the 13 colonies. Now, for example, on the Mayflower in 1620, there was more beer than water on the ship. Now, in current modern times, this may seem odd, but at the time, it made perfect sense. You see, alcohol, especially beer and wine, were much safer to drink than water. They were getting their water from the same source as sewage and garbage. So alcohol was much safer than the polluted waters of Europe. Alcohol was also seen as an analgesic. It provided energy necessary for hard work and generally enhanced the quality of life. In the 1600s, alcohol was used as a medicinal product. In the 1800s, that is when they had grain. They introduced grain for spirits, for cheap spirits, for mass production, increasing markets. Unfortunately, you also created many more alcoholics. With gin production, you created massive alcoholism. The American Medical Association deemed alcoholism as an illness in 1956, based on the theory that excessive drinking and alcohol addiction is caused by a disease of the brain based on the structure and function of the brain. Some of the elements of the disease include the inability to control your alcohol intake. There's compulsive thoughts about alcohol, as well as distorted beliefs. The underlying concept of this theory is that the disease of alcohol could lead to physical dependence, which then could lead to other types of diseases and cirrhosis of the liver. The American Psychiatric Association, the American Hospital Association, American Public Health Association, the National Association of Social Workers, and the American College of Physicians all classify alcoholism as a disease. An abundance of alcohol can harm the liver, whose function it is to break down harmful substances in the body. Now, this can lead to hepatitis, jaundice, and cirrhosis, which is the buildup of scar tissue, which ends up destroying the organ. Alcohol can also cause kidney, bladder, and prostate inflammation. Drinking too much puts you at an elevated risk of certain cancers, such as mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, and breast cancer. It also affects your immune system. Drinking every day or excessive drinking will make you much more susceptible to colds, flus, COVID, and so many other illnesses compared to the people who don't drink. Here's something. The reality is alcohol does not kill brain cells. But what it does do, it actually damages the ends of the neurons called dendrites. And neurons are so valuable and necessary in our well-being because they relay messages in our brain. So to sum up, let's see that alcohol is part of our society. Alcoholism is a disease. Excessive drinking can be very damaging to your health. So be smart when or if you drink. Life is wonderful.